Hello, friends, and welcome back to our Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones role-playing campaign. After the fire is Thursday, we are back, and we're ready for those juicy fruits. I have 5 beautifully assembled human beings to play this with me. Let's talk to them now. First up, not on the tweet, but definitely here first. Hi, Tom. How you doing?
That wounded me so much, Susie. It cut deep. So deep. And didn't even send out a retract. Just say, sorry, this isn't here. This is the actual one. Just like it's out there. Forget it.
Couldn't retract.
I wanted a press conference for that.
Well, that's all right. We'll promote a YouTube apology video.
Thank you. Thank you.
There'll be lots of tears.
Front and center. Yeah. I'm knackered, Sam. Absolutely knackered. It's been such a difficult week that it's been so exhausting that I'm actually sleeping from the moment I fall asleep all the way till my alarm. That never happens, you know? I always wake up once or twice, but I'm so exhausted that I just bypass the waking up or the nuclear bomb that goes off every night and wake up groggily at my alarm. So I'm really desperate for the weekend. But apart from that, I'm all right. Yeah.
Good, cool, all right. So, stay peppy, stay alert, stay ready for tonight's session.
You'll see me as the session goes on. I'm gonna drag, and it's gonna go down and down until I just collapse. So look forward to that.
Lovely. All right, I will. Thank you very much. And Millie, you're back with us. You look very luminous tonight.
Do I?
Yeah, there's some good camera settings going on.
In a good way or in a sweaty way? Because I'm old now, and that is apparently something that happens.
Okay, no, in a good way, in a good camera settings kind of way. Whatever the opposite of this is going on with your camera.
I wouldn't dare say you're the GM, and I'm going to need help tonight. I'm just glad to be here, to be honest. I've been looking forward to this session for a long time. And it's my birthday today, so I get to spend it all with all you lovely peeps.
Yeah.
I have survived yet another trip around the glowy ball in the sun. But, the virgin's blood and that picture in the attic that looks like shit seem to be doing the trick. And I remain unaffected. Fuck you, Father Time.
Good.
Yeah, this should be interesting. I am nervous, but not as nervous as I think Susie is.
We'll see, I guess. How nervous are you, Susie?
Always nervous in this campaign. Like, I've never not been nervous. I've never been relaxed. So it's just, par for the course. But I did come with some war paint today. I thought I got a little bit extra. I was like, I'll just do a little smoky eye, and then this happened. So there was tape, concealer. We carved out shapes. Like, I'm telling you, this is why I was still doing my makeup when the call went up, and I hadn't had my eyebrows on or anything. So yeah,
it's pretty standard though.
Yeah, it is pretty standard.
Oh my god, the fucking subscriptions are coming in. Tom, do you want your own bonus dice?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Is it so you can prove to everyone that you've got a ship?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Should be a hyped ship, shouldn't it?
Hype ship.
Never arrives.
That's one thing, chat. Do we believe that Enzo actually has a ship? Leave your answers in chat. I'll run a poll.
Answers on a postcard. P.O. Box doesn't have a ship. Cool. All right. Sweet. Thanks. You're playing Zomboids, Druids.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It got me. I played it. I picked up in the Steam sale and I played it for a bit, and I wasn't interested much. I was like, oh, this is a bit naff. But then I played it the other day on stream with Tom when we eventually managed to get in a server together. And then spent another half an hour trying to find each other, being like, I see a fence. Do you see a fence? I'm going to go down this street. I'll go down this street. And then we found each other, and it was jubilant. And then 5 minutes later, I got bitten by a zombie. So now I'm slowly turning, and Tom's running out for little supply runs. And I'm there fortifying our little base, and my health meter just keeps going down and down.
God.
And I keep bleeding all over the floor, and Tom keeps getting mad at me for bleeding all over the floor.
I would. Yeah.
I'm turning into a fucking zombie. I can't help it.
For the second time, Susie.
For
I
the
just wanna
second
point
time.
out.
In
Yeah.
this
Being
scenario,
messy.
have
No
you
excuse.
told people you're turning into a zombie?
Yes.
Okay.
I did
Tom,
the
why
first
haven't you just
time.
shot her yet?
Yeah, also that.
Because she's currently still useful.
Yeah, but she
Good
can't keep
answer.
her juices where they're supposed to be.
Juices was
That's
the word
dangerous.
you went for, Millie.
Just the word you
That's-
went for.
that's the
Okay.
choice.
That's the one I went for. Don't
Yeah.
look. I can say whatever I want today. I'm sticking by it.
Yeah, no,
Juices.
fair. Okay.
So yeah, zomboid. That's what's happening. That's
We
what
can't
it's like.
tempt
It's
you
a shit show.
to new Sea of Thieves content.
I don't know. I don't know how much they've put in. They haven't done the tall tales yet, right?
Oh.
The adventure
just-
has started
Oh, it
Today.
has?
today. Bye-bye Golden Sands.
I liked Golden Sands. Why didn't they deal with
That's
that
why they
crappy
did it.
outpost?
That's why they did it.
That one in the wilds that you can't get. Daggertooth, where it's so
The worst
far
one.
out. Yeah, why didn't they just kill that off?
Because that wouldn't hurt the community, Sam.
I guess
True.
not.
But they did do as a solid, and they got rid of Flameheart. So
No more shouting from 3 islands over. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
true. It's going to be good. All right, well, we'll see. We'll see tomorrow, I guess. Lovely stuff. And Don. Hello, Don. Back with us again.
Hello. I have no idea what you're talking, what that conversation was all about. I have no idea what any of the words you just said were, but it sounded very cool. Very cool.
Video games. Yeah. How are you doing?
I'm doing good. I've been busy, lots of work on book projects, pushing those forward and running a bunch of campaigns. So it's been a lot of fun, but I've been very, very busy. And so I'd say my only hobby recently has been like dread watching, dread binging Mr. Robot late at night when everything else is done and just reminding myself about how I feel about the world. It does a good job of reinforcing my very strong anger.
Fair. You hide it very well.
Thank you. I try.
Fair enough. We're playing Dark Sun on Saturday. I'm looking forward to that. The Suicide Squad. Yeah.
Suicide. Yeah. So we crossed the point in our last Dark Sun session. We're getting towards the end of the campaign. I think now I've run over, I think it's like 102 sessions in our little Dark Sun world altogether now, which is a lot.
It's been a while.
So we're getting towards the end of this particular campaign, and you've now crossed the point of no return. Like you can't go back and shop. You can't do side quests. It's suicide mission time.
So we had such an awesome freaking thing happen last session. I have to tell people, as soon as we did it, as soon as we came off the game with Don, I told Ash, we smuggled ourselves into basically an impenetrable, like, psychic lair, this castle in the sky, by one of the characters' Fey familiars reverse pickpocketing us as we were inside a magical ring into somebody's pocket. So we're just
like a genie's ring that you all went into this little pocket dimension, and the familiar like rolled a natural 20 to reverse pickpocket you into, one of the big bad guys, pockets, and they walked you into their impenetrable lair from which there is no escape.
So we're just chilling in this ring, like having a good time, having a short rest. It's all lovely. Whilst we're infiltrating the lair. It's great. It's fucking
Their
amazing.
passive perception was 23. So it was like literally impossible for that roll to be successful unless they rolled a natural 20, which they did.
It's so good. So I'm going to kill lots of defilers and probably die myself in the next couple of sessions. It's going to be great. It's going to be a good time. And V, hello friend. What have you been up to?
Hi. Mostly work. I just finished up layout for Archon, A City of Neon Daylight, written by Kiana and Jason from here. Should go check it out. It's really cool. And I'm currently writing some pitches for other things, which resulted in some very hilarious shorthand notes for myself last night. And my day being disrupted by surprise electricians. That was not fun.
I'm glad you're
But
with us now.
otherwise, yeah, working games, wrecking my players in Ravenloft. I gave them a nice session where they could, relax and rest. And already our paladin is paying orphan children to play pranks on the rest of the group. Anytime something seems good, they are immediately suspicious of it. I've never had a group make so many insight checks about everything they see and everybody they meet. They've got to the point where they have started questioning if the good people they meet are even real. One of them's got a magic ring that lets them see through illusions. They're like, I want to see if he's an illusion. I'm like, no, he's real. This person that you're talking to whose hand you've shook is in fact real. They are not an illusion.
This feels a lot like having a psychology degree, I'm not going to lie.
And then horrible character deaths in Don's game, where my character finally succumbed to awful space creatures and forever darkness and horrible memories. Thank you for that, Don. And tomorrow my new character comes in because we have a session and hopefully doesn't die immediately. But I figure at this point my chances are 50-50. So
yeah. Well, good luck.
But yeah, work and playing games. That's just my life.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, that's kind of it, really, isn't it? So
make your job your hobby, friends. And your hobby your job. You will work every day. I'm sorry, I just called out everybody in this Zoom call.
Thanks. Yes, well, we've been kind of fairly busy actually recently here at Black Cat's headquarters. We got our pledge manager out, which means our late pledges for Cursed Captains is up. We probably still don't have a link to share with you in chat because we're idiots. So I'm going to write that down. Oh, Susie's pointing the finger. Okay. So maybe there is. Maybe there isn't.
I got it.
No.
Just give me a sec.
You got it? Sweet. So yeah, check that out if you didn't manage to back the Kickstarter first when it came around. Cursed Captains of Cthulhu is our swashbuckling mythos adventure on the high seas, pirates battling Cthulhu, and the extended mythos as well. All that stuff. And then yesterday we've been back playing Spy Game, more of our Hexcrawl campaign, probably similar to a bit of a kind of Mr. Robot thing, the old surveillance capitalism and hacking and stuff like that. They're currently trying to infiltrate a holding company in the Cayman Islands. So it's nice, but there are lots of explosions and it just keeps escalating. And I'm like, you're spies, you keep blowing things up. So just like GTA, this is just going to get harder and harder and harder. Like, keep going. Because eventually...
So let's stay for the record. I was not involved with any of the explosions. I was merely trying to catfish a dude out of his job.
You're doing your tradecraft. The murder mum and the loose cannon kid are off blowing things up and trying to kill the Terminator. And he's still not dead. It was so good. Anyway, we should probably play Westeros, shouldn't we? Right then. Let me get her music on. And so we start, folks. This being episode 10 of our 6th season. Hears well, but sees nothing. And we're going to start with Enzo. So Golden Grove is a welcome sight from the travel north that you have been taking for the last month. It's familiar white walls, it's little farms, orchards, outside markets you can see here from the top of the hill as you descend down towards it. And you can even just see, just peeking over the walls, the familiar Golden Grove tree. That contains many a different apple, as you learnt when you were last here. The war seems distant, and you're thankful for that. And it's been a fairly quiet journey for the last week. And so you head down towards the actual castle keep itself. Is there any particular approach you want to take, or will you just head inside, make yourself known?
I'll head inside and make myself known. They know who I am.
Yeah.
They know I'm, well thought of. So I'm pretty confident that they'll, I don't know, if I tell them to do something that, well, ask them to do something, they'd probably do it as long as it isn't like something ridiculous.
Alrighty. Sorry, I was just checking my music. So let's just... I'm going to remind myself briefly of the state of the house as we've been rolling the fortunes and stuff like that for it.
If I remember correctly, it's pretty decent, right?
Yeah, we've done very well.
Yeah. Always been good for Golden Grove.
Yeah, absolutely. Maester, well, not Maester, in fact, Magister Benedar, the magistrate here, has been taking fairly good care of the place. Although, as you enter into the kind of Bailey, I guess, the inner Bailey, you notice that there's a slightly more... not somber, but just kind of relaxed feel to the place.
Okay.
The familiar kind of bunting and various trestle tables that either might have been left out from the last festival or will be setting up for the next are no longer around, put away somewhere. And the roads themselves, you're not asked for a toll, which is kind of an unfamiliar thing. Last time you were here, you were very much aware that they were taking tolls on the road. I don't have this just here, but Millie, you have to remind me, did the court get taken
No.
out? No, that still remains.
I believe the court is still running. Let me double check.
Yeah, I've got it. I haven't got it marked off on the on the wealth stuff.
No, we kept that running, and I think the tolls are closed, and the festivals are closed down.
Yeah.
That's it.
Cool. Okay. So there's a quiet atmosphere here as you make yourself known, and Magistrate Benedar comes to meet you in the courtyard. And so under the tree, he greets you. There's a stiff bow, and he says, "Good sir, welcome back to Golden Grove." And he looks up and around at you, and then back on the horse he sees your captive. Presumably his hood's still on his head.
Yep.
And your kind of entourage around you. What business do you have here?
Oh, I am on my lady Rowan's business. Would you mind having some guards take this prisoner down to the dungeons and locking him in a very deep, dark cell?
Of course. And he turns to a couple of guards nearby, and then they take him down. There's a little bit of a struggle, and then a slap around the back of the head until, rather tired, he heads down some steps off to the side of the courtyard with them.
Okay. So, mister, why do you not... I've been away from civilized company for quite some time. Why don't you tell me how Golden Grove is going? How is the war going? What have you heard?
Quite well. Unfortunately, we had to stop, put an end for a while to the tolls around the place. It's better for the small folk, I feel, so they're not unduly taxed during this trying time. We've had much little traffic, in fact, as well. And so, really, any that has done is encouraged more trade to pass through. Thankfully, sales of the cider, unfortunately, aren't the Perry are quite down, unfortunately, and so we have to make do with kind of what we can, as it were.
I'm sure those sales will pick up at the end of this war. There will be celebrations, I'm sure.
If you see my lady, then please let her know from me that we have done as much as we can for the kind of preparations for war. Just in case, I have recruited more guards, more garrison as I can. There is very little in terms of kind of passing our candidates. Most have headed south to the war.
Magister, I am sure Lady Faye knows that Golden Grove is in most capable hands. And I'm going to give him a pat on the shoulder and a smile.
And he smiles at that, and he actually avoids your gaze in just that moment, but he says, thank you, sir.
So, this gentleman that I have brought with, I would need him guarded night and day, if that is okay, and I will be having conversations with him within a few days or two. It may last a few hours, few days, maybe even a week, depends on how forthcoming he wishes to be.
Very well, sir. I will make the preparations. Is there anything else that you need whilst you're here?
Oh, a place for my companions to stay would be quite nice, with some food, and a room for myself to stay. And if any information with Faye or the war that comes in, that perhaps you would just keep me updated.
Of course. I'm sure I can do that. We've unfortunately heard very little. As I said, most travellers have headed south. They haven't really returned from the front.
Probably a good thing. Keep the war away from Golden Grove.
We heard that Prince Baelor had headed south down the Rose Road. Fortunately, that's not in our particular direction. But we did hear that our neighbours, the Cranes, had followed him down there.
Interesting. So many houses moving. Well, whatever happens, we must make sure that this house is standing at the end of it, no?
Absolutely, sir. Absolutely.
Right, well, I will not keep you anymore, Magister. I'm sure you are a very busy person. Thank you.
Very well, sir. Very well. And is there anything you want to do before you start your interrogation?
I want to keep. I want to keep my. I want to ask. How do I put this? I want to make sure that my companions are basically constantly watching for any unusual people trying to get into the keep, the Bailey, just in case we were followed. I want to make sure that, like, you didn't have any allies or someone. But apart from essentially wanting him, like, strapped to a chair in the jail cell, not really. Go straight to the interrogation.
Yeah, let's take you there. So how would you want to frame this?
So I'd like to think that he's in darkness for a while. So Enzo will probably leave him a day or two. Essentially just giving him some water just to keep going on, maybe a scrap of bread or something. And then when Enzo wants to talk with him, then guards come in and kind of strap him down in the chair. And the guards are outside, outside, and Enzo will enter with just a very kind of low candle that he's got, and he's kind of got also in his left hand he's got a kind of like a piece of cloth that's all wrapped up, and like probably a small table to the right with with maybe like a wash basin, a towel with it as well, and he's going to come in and he'll kind of just put the cloth to the side next to the wash basin, and he'll pull up a chair himself and sit down in front of him, and he'll wait for him to acknowledge that he's there. Whatever his name is. Where was his name? Yobbert. No, is that Yobbert? Yeah.
No.
Is that not his name? Oh no, it's not.
Is that what I told you?
No,
No.
it's Jaffrey. Sorry. All I got written down is good name Yobbert.
Is that because you think it's a good name?
It was at the time. I remember it now. I remember. I think it was it was one of the random names that came up when you were doing something. And it's Yogbert, and you went, no, we're not having that. And we all agreed it was a great name.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All he returns to you is a stern stare. It's the only acknowledgement that you get that he knows that you're there.
Okay. Oh, that reminds me, actually, apologies. Cheat sheet. I forgot to get that. Could I try and read his physical and condition, how he's feeling, like if I just have a look at him, see if he's like really feeling suffering, and I'm just going to stand there and just kind of eye him.
Yeah, roll me healing.
Healing. Oh dear.
Diagnosis specialty.
Crap, I don't even know where it is. I'm pretty sure it's 2. Yeah.
I've never even looked at this ability.
7.
It's definitely 2 dice.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
He definitely looks thinner than you remember him when you first caught him. Aside from that, you can't really tell anything about his physical demeanor. Okay. He's been strapped down. He seems aware. He seems awake. And he seems thinner than before.
Okay. Just stare at him for a bit and ask, do you know why you are here?
We have already spoken.
Yes, we have. I just wish for you to repeat.
Why?
Indulge me.
Indulge my captive.
Who else would you indulge?
I'm not playing games with you. I've told you what I know.
Then why don't you tell me again?
I was instructed by Lady Elenia Tyrell to tell Lord Mathos Costain to execute your lady's family.
Did she personally tell you?
Yes.
In person?
Yes.
What are you to her?
A messenger.
She entrusted a simple messenger to send that information. Who are you to Lady Elenia?
A knight she knew, a messenger. Someone she paid to send a message. Who are your companions to you? I don't see any camaraderie. I don't see any bonds of brotherhood or anything like that. I can smell a mercenary 3 leagues away. And down here it fucking stinks.
It's true. They are only around me because I pay them. Is that why you were with Lady Elenia? For a pay? Or did you feel true loyalty to her?
I fought for the Red Dragon, if that's what you're asking for.
No, it's not. I'm asking for if you were loyal to Lady Elenia.
As long as her gold had bite to it.
Okay. I understand. Now we are getting somewhere. Do you know why she ordered you to do such things?
No.
No, I did not think so. What was, when you told Lord Costain, how did he react?
He didn't, really.
Just a nod in acknowledgement. Did Lord Costain know you? No. So a random knight goes up to Lord Costain and tells him that Lady Elenia wishes a loyal family to be killed. And he believed you without hesitation.
I didn't say it was Lady Elenia to him.
Who did you say it was?
Made up some shit about whoever was for the Red Dragon. I don't remember.
I see. So maybe like a high-ranking general for the Red Dragon, then some random person. Again, didn't bat an eyelid, didn't question it, just gave the orders.
I managed to grab some documents, a little seal, to try and persuade him with it.
So you did that. Lady Elenia didn't give it to you. You did it.
I carried the message verbally. I didn't.
See.
She didn't write it down.
So Lord Costain had no idea it came from Lady Elenia. Was there anyone else when she told you there?
No.
Where did she tell you?
In the small council chambers of Highgarden.
Interesting. What were you doing there? Were you, or did she specifically order you to come see her?
Yeah.
Okay. I want to read the person. I want to read to see if he's bullshitting.
Okay. Go right ahead.
What is it to read a person? What was it again?
Awareness,
Retarget, right?
Retarget, so you're rolling an awareness empathy check.
Okay.
You've got to beat his passive deception.
Okay. Oh, come on. Don't do this to me. Sorry, the thing's a bit...
It's okay.
Man, that's shit compared to... so it's just 17. That's bad. That's a bad roll. 17.
Yeah, a couple of ones in there. Yeah.
Yeah. It's 5 dice, guys.
Okay. His disposition towards you is malicious.
Mm-hmm.
And he hasn't used a technique yet.
Do I
So
gauge that is he's saying truthfully?
At the moment, you can't tell. Isn't really kind of giving you enough to go on. He's being quite closed still.
He is, yeah.
About what's going on. But he is going to try and influence you.
Okay.
4 versus your intrigue defense, and no? Okay.
No. Okay. I think that you might be telling me little bits, but I think there are details you are withholding. So how about this? I will offer you this bargain, similar to the one I offered you before. You will tell me absolutely everything you know, every little detail, maybe things you don't think it's important. And I will talk to my lady and ask her to be merciful towards you. I have her ear and I can do it. Alternatively, well, let's just say your ending to this journey could be a lot more pleasurable.
Like I said, fucking reeks down here, doesn't it? All the coin sloshing around. I know you, I know who you are. Half the realm knows who you are. What I don't get is what you're doing here still.
I think you forget that I'm the one asking questions here.
I'll tell you anything you want to know. But it was 6, 7 years ago now. I don't remember every single little detail like it was yesterday.
It's a rather big event. I thought that maybe it would stick in your mind.
Red grass sticks in my mind.
Just a battle. There are many, many battles.
Not like this.
So they say.
So they say, because it's true.
Well, maybe there will be a red grass too. And there'll be another battle for the ages. Tell me about it. You were there. Maybe you could tell me of your role in that battle.
I was on a flank of Crownland knights, squires. We formed part of the hammer to make our anvil. The ground was a pool, dark red pool. When the sun hit it after that day, late into the evening, the stench was unbearable. All the shit, the pus, and the stink of blood. I wore a pair of boots for another 2-3 seasons. Never got the red out of them. You never get the red out of your head either. Count yourself fucking lucky that you weren't there.
Oh, I do. I wasn't there because I'm not stupid enough to get involved in such things.
It's because you know no duty.
Duty. It's just a word. It's just a way to keep people obedient. That is all.
And money being the other way, then, is it?
Well, I can buy more things with money than I can with duty. See if you could buy yourself a piece of bread with duty. I don't think you can.
Oh, you can. You can buy yourself 7 kingdoms with duty.
So, when did you see Lady Elenia? Before or after Redgrass?
Before Redgrass. Redgrass was the final battle of the campaign.
Now, I need to remember now, actually, out of character. Were they killed before Redgrass or after? I thought it was because the war was over and then they were killed.
Fireball was Harris's dad was killed the night before Redgrass.
That was before.
So they did a little from some of the kind of non-canonical history that like we've heard on podcasts and they were looking into. They did a little bit of a tour because they hit Lannisport, I think, at some point. But they had a little romp around the Reach as well before they actually went towards the Crownlands and towards Redgrass. Redgrass isn't actually, it's not actually like canonically described where exactly it is yet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I imagine you can imagine they headed towards the Crownlands for that. And so yeah, that pivotal battle basically spelled an end to it because Daemon Blackfyre, Daemon first,
He was dead.
Was killed then, and his first, and I think even his second son were all killed in that battle.
Yeah. Okay, and so
this would have been when they were romping around the Reach.
Romping around the Reach. Okay. And they were prisoners of war, and then they just killed them for no reason. Okay, got it. Well, they were just told to kill them, right? Okay. So after Redgrass, what did you do?
I did what I could. Try to put down the sword. So I found what work I could.
Mm-hmm.
Hunting, trapping. Just trying to forget.
Did you ever?
What do you think?
After it all, did anyone try to silence you? So Lady Elenia told you to give a message to Costain that could to kill a respectable family on the winning side of the war. And she kept you alive. Lord Costain, I can understand, he is a lord. And lords are a little more difficult to disappear, but some random night, a loose end? You are telling me that she would not have you disappear? She totally trusted you to stay silent.
It's fishy, isn't it?
It's very fishy. So why don't you give me some ideas as to why she would do that?
I don't know. I didn't ask her.
You just took the money? Enzo's going to get up and he's going to head on over to the table and he's going to position himself like between him and where he's standing so he can't see what he's opening over on the table. And he goes, see, in my opinion, Lady Elenia, she is a smart woman. Crafty. I don't believe she's a person who would leave loose ends unless she truly trusted that person. And I just do not believe that she would trust that information with just a simple, what did you say, mercenary. So I'm going to ask you again. What are you to Lady Elenia.
Just the man she chose for the job.
Right. Before we go down this journey, and he's going to just kind of rest on the table. Did you know her? Did she have any interactions with you before this? No? Any interactions after? No? Strange. Very strange. Well, one way or another, he's going to turn and he's going to kind of like hold up kind of like a blade, and he's going to just kind of like play with it in his hands. We will find out whether you are telling the truth or not. Just hope this journey would be much more pleasurable.
Roll bargain for me. You did a bargain
Okay.
earlier, so I want to see if that has an impact.
It's cunning, isn't it? Bargain.
That's what the damage dice. That's what the damage comes off. But you still want to roll persuasion or deception, depending on whether you're being.
Oh no, you're right. Yeah, it's persuasion.
Depending on whether you're actually willing to follow through with that bargain or not.
I think that's just okay. I think it's just this. There are no ones. So I think it's 16. Appreciate that.
Right. And what's your cunning rank?
My cunning rank, 3.
So, it's been so long since now I just do degrees of success. Okay. So it's that much damage minus that. Okay. Let's roll a 7 versus your intrigue defense.
I'm pretty sure that doesn't hit it.
Nope.
Nope.
Alrighty. Okay. Well then, we will then head over to Faye. Faye, at the confluence of the, I believe it's the Cockleswent and the Blueburn rivers, or the Manda, sorry, the Cockleswent and the Manda River, lies the castle of Cider Hall. A familiar name to you. Familiar because it holds some bad memories of the people that lord over this place. Sir Martin Fossaway, murderer of your father and brothers, and his son Sir Stephen Fossaway. And so on the south bank of the Cockleswent, Lord Samuel Tarley's host sits, preparing for dinner. Cook fires starting up along the bank, the sun beginning to set, and tents are starting to be strapped down for the poor weather that looks to come on the horizon. There's some pretty dark clouds looming in from the west. And so within your tent, you are waiting for whatever dinner will be brought to you. Instead, the tent flap opens and Lady Mara stands in the entranceway.
I think Mara has probably brought food with her. Like, if she knows it's dinner time, then she'd have probably accosted this, whichever person was meant to be bringing Faye dinner and has taken the tray. Like, no, it's fine, I'll take that. And she's kind of got the tray in one hand and this bundle of fabric in the other. Can I come in? She's kind of like shouldering the tent flap door open with her hands full.
Could I stop you even if I wanted to?
Probably not, but you could say no. And then it would be a very different kind of conversation.
What's the point?
She kind of makes her way in and like awkwardly looks for somewhere to set this tray down. And if there's no free table, she'll like set it very carefully down on the bed to not spill anything.
Faye will just sit there watching, not helping. She's going to let this be as awkward as possible.
She puts that down and then kind of like finds somewhere to put down this bundle of what is obviously clothing. It's dresses that she's probably brought for Faye. Those are for you. I didn't know what you had in the way of clothing anymore, so
I see.
can I? And she points to, it's probably a stool or a chair, I imagine, somewhere in here.
You keep asking my permission for things. Why?
This might be my camp. This is your tent.
The options are boundless. Fine, sit.
She sits down. She still looks kind of awkward, but she's definitely less awkward than like the last time they spoke on the balcony and had like a proper private conversation.
I would like the both of you, please, to roll me status breeding. Because I think to resolve this, we're going to have to resort to actual intrigue PvP. And as two of the biggest hitters here, I am fucking ready for it.
16.
Okay.
I think that's the best I've rolled for that in a long while.
Ooh, badly.
Ooh.
Really badly.
This is
wow, that's many a one.
Add 2 to that as your head of house, but Mara will go first. Yeah.
I think I need to roll something if this is going the way of the intrigue as well.
Be mindful of your disposition toward each other.
Mm-hmm.
I think Mara takes a minute of just like in the awkwardness. Just kind of.
You could consider that gives you +2 bonus dice.
She just kind of like Faye can probably see she's sitting there kind of not looking at Faye and sort of playing with the rings on her hand as she's like carefully thinking about what to say. I know Samuel came to speak to you.
You're talking then. Good.
Well, yes. He's under the impression that he seemed to have upset you, asking about your Golden Grove's position in the war.
Asking.
Well,
is that what he said he did?
I assume.
It was more of an impotent command.
I see. Well, that explains a lot. I'm here to talk to you about the same thing. I'll be honest with you. But perhaps not from the same perspective. I know he sent letters to summon Costain to meet us at Highgarden, as he promised you. And I didn't know when I came to ask you about Costain that you had quite that much history there.
Well, naturally. It is not part of my duty to put my personal grievances ahead of the good of the realm.
It's more than a personal grievance, though, isn't it?
What would you call it?
A man who may have been part of a conspiracy to murder families of the Reach. And they should have been safe.
I think that's a little strong, don't you?
I don't think anything is particularly strong for Mathos Costain.
I may agree with you, but for the time being, there is no evidence of anything else. I go on facts, not hearsay. You should try it.
There is no hearsay. I know the level of influence Costain has. My first husband ended up in prison because of words whispered by that man.
How do you mean?
Everything that happened at Fox Hollow. Costain was the one who told Alistair of Oliver's supposed crimes, which I only found out 3 days after everything had taken place. If that idiot had told me, I could have got to the bottom of it, and maybe Oliver would still be here, and things would be very different. But it was Costain who put the idea into Alistair's head, that he could be the one to confront Oliver. Alistair was a foolish boy looking for glory and power, not through any of the ways that he should have been. An event that I think affected both of our lives very significantly. On his words, Alistair rallied Samuel's men, his own. And well, you were at the trial, you know the rest of the story. It was Costain who was helping organize the lords who didn't want to pay their taxes. I was there when he tried to approach John Oakhart about the very same thing. But I warned him that it wouldn't be looked upon well, and then he stopped being very forthcoming the last time I spoke to him on the way to Old Town. I went off shopping. When I met back up with Samuel after he went off with Costain, it's when I found out that Blackfyre had landed in Dawn. So I don't think that the grievance you have is a personal grievance that somehow conflicts with duty. Faye, I think a man as dangerous as Costain, who would turn on his allies as quickly as he would turn on his enemies, is much more of a problem than just some petty court arguing. I don't trust him being in Old Town. I don't trust him with that money or with his forces. And the reason I've come here is because we need your armies to win this fight at Highgarden. And if Costain shows up and we lose, do you think you're going to get answers then when they take him off in irons or he loses his head? He's bringing men with him. He might find a way to weasel out of being in the vanguard or the fighting, but that won't save his life if we lose this battle. When he's been instrumental in orchestrating, well, much of what preceded this.
Well, there's a very simple way of eliminating that, isn't it? I question him before we go to battle. Did you have another point to make?
We don't know when Costain will arrive. You might not have the time to do that. Are you willing to put that down to chance? And if it turns out he is guilty of some involvement, there's nothing you're going to be able to do before the battle. He'll be needed to command the forces. And if he dies in battle, then you will get no justice.
So you're promising me what, exactly?
I'm not promising you anything.
Just placing suggestions in my mind, I suppose.
If I could place suggestions in your mind, Lady Faye, this whole situation would be very different. No, I'm simply pointing out that if you want answers, you have to be careful about where you choose to place yourself in this battlefield, because things happen quickly in war and people die quickly too.
Don't they?
What do you want your first actions to be?
Ooh.
I think Mara's probably going to go in with a convince. She's trying to convince Faye that having her armies choose Blackfyre as a position is not just a choice of pick which side and let's fight. There is strategy beyond just winning the fight at Highgarden. That is more than just, yeah, we might get to fuck up Costain, but like, what else has he got?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Trying to remember how to do things on the character sheet. It's been like 2 weeks.
One of the little kind of sub items under persuasion will be convince. If you hit that, and then you got 2 bonus die in your frame. Do you want any of those?
I might use one of them.
Oh my! Thank you, Green Ronin. Welcome in.
Oh, hello, Green Ronin.
Say hi to Green Ronin, everybody.
Hello, Green Ronin.
Hello. We're deep in an intrigue right now.
23 in total.
23 in total.
Good Lord, woman.
Whoa.
Sorry. 23 total, yeah. There's 2 6s in there if any of those, if it counts as a crit.
Is your intrigue defense, Millie, 12 or less?
Let's have a look.
Hang on, 11 or less. I can do maths.
It is exactly 11.
Then you have scored a crit. So with our crit house rules for intrigues, you are dealing a vulnerable hit, permanently reducing your opponent's DR by 1.
Ooh.
So you're gonna, after this hit, you're gonna absorb less.
Sorry, Millie,
of
I
the
love you.
impactful stuff. Right. Convince comes off will rank, so if it was 11, this is 3 degrees of success. Am I right, Don? I think I'm right. Yep.
I'm glad everyone else in this stream can do math because I can't. That's going to be 12. 3 times my will rank, yeah.
12 composure damage minus your DR, your disposition rating towards her.
Yes. Now, let me just look at that.
And that's reduced by 1, right? Or is that on the next hit?
That'll be on the next hit.
It's been a while since I've rolled dice for
To be fair,
like this.
I haven't
So 12
explicitly said
DR,
that
right?
in the house rules. So, yeah, 12 composure damage, but minus some of it is absorbed by your disposition rating too. Okay, well, Pope gave you back that bonus dice, so I just won't take it off the frame. That's easy.
Thanks, Pope.
All right, Millie. What do you want your action to be?
Ooh. I think right now she's just reading target. That's it. She's just trying to get a level on this.
It's a damn good action. Roll me an awareness empathy check.
Not a damn good action for this character, but it is what she's doing.
Okay. It's going to be
empathy, is it?
Awareness empathy, yeah. Hit that. In your frame, there are 3 little friends. 3 little bonus die.
One little friend.
One little friend? Cool.
Yeah.
Lovely, lovely. And this will be against...
Real bad. Real bad.
Like passive deception, is it?
Yes.
20, it's my birthday.
That's the small number in the box, right?
That's the small number in the box.
No, my passive deception is 16.
Nice.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
This is so cool.
So unfortunately, you do not get a read on her disposition towards you and the last technique that she used. At the top of the round, I am because this is PvP. I want to make sure I try and cover everything. I want to make the 2 of you aware that if you were not influenced, as in if you did not take damage in that last round, you can move your disposition towards the other person up or down 1 step if you want to.
Okay.
It will make you either like them or not like them more. Remember that. But it will give you more or less armor depending on what you want to do.
Okay. I mean, does Faye respond with anything, or is she just silent at this point?
Just giving you a look.
Yeah, I think that's just this like, oh, you cheeky bitch. Look.
I think Mara, I feel like the awkwardness is starting to fade a little bit now they're actually exchanging words. And Mara kind of embraces that kind of silence and the look. I really mean it, Faye. I'm not here to promise you anything. I'm not even really here necessarily to ask you for your armies or demand them. I'm simply putting to you that Golden Grove's position is bigger than just this war, but what you can do when you've positioned Golden Grove somewhere. I understand you're trying to protect your people. You're trying to keep them out of a conflict. But eventually, you are going to have to pick a side. And not because I've forced your hand, or Samuel has, or Harris has, but because war is happening. The momentum is built now, and it's going to dissipate. And however it dissipates, you need to know where you're standing when it does.
That's very interesting. Historically, I believe, wasn't it you yourself who told me that your family had played both sides of the last, 2, 3?
The last several major conflicts. We tried to play both sides of the last rebellion. And that didn't end well for us. Not at all. Not really. We were luckier than other houses, but definitely not as lucky as some.
I was going to say, until your current husband's actions, I would have said that you came out of it quite well.
Faye, have you thought about what happens if the Targaryens march past? And Golden Grove and its vassals say they're staying out of a war. Do you really think they're going to want that? It will eventually reach a point, whereas if you're not on a side, you are against them. Not picking a side also means you don't have a side backing Golden Grove if the other one decides to come knocking.
A very valid point, but we are not at that point yet.
No, but by the time that we are there, Faye, it will be too late to make that decision.
Not all of us play our hands as recklessly as you do, Lady Mara.
Right now, you have the freedom of choice of how Golden Grove enters this conflict. You could probably negotiate to join this side and speak for it and sit there and just defend your own houses and vassals without ever being in a vanguard or on a battlefield. But if you have to make that choice with your back against the wall, you will lose options.
I will lose options, but not face. If my hand is forced in a direction, it is not my hand choosing the actions, and therefore I cannot be held to blame. Whatever happens in this war, my people will come out of it.
But how will they come out of it, Lady Faye? As people whose hand was forced? Or as people who had their lady making a choice?
The lady has made a choice. I'm still here, aren't I?
You are. But staying absent from this conflict in the way you had, I could understand at the start. This could have failed. The momentum could have been lost. The rebellion could have crumbled in the space of a few weeks. That is not where we are at now.
Not through your actions, though.
No.
Not through your husband's. I am here because of the agreement that was made when last we spoke privately. I'm here because of the agreement that I made with your husband. but I'd be allowed to remain neutral. And if your husband wishes to go back on that, he can have the balls to tell me himself.
I'm not here to speak for him.
Just to do what you do.
We are at war.
You would love me to go to Old Town, wouldn't you, Lady Mara?
Old Town. Oh. I didn't know he was going to offer you that until after he'd offered you it.
He doesn't tell you everything, then?
I suppose not. You would do well there, but if you don't want it, then I wouldn't take it if I were you. You'd be much better suited to staying at court in Highgarden. At least in my opinion, from what I've seen.
What I wish has little bearing on the good of the realm. I will do what is needed for me to do, as I always have. And at the moment, my people need me to remain true to my word. This is not a game of choice. This is who blinks first. I have no doubt my hand will be swayed in one direction or another at some point, but when it is, it has to be through no fault of mine, or my people will suffer for it, and I will not abide that.
Lady Faye, your people are already suffering. And if they're not now, they will be very soon. The war front is moving closer. The Targaryens are going to be scrambling for every Reacher house they can get to side for them. Most of the Reach has turned to Blackfyre. The people that you claim to want to protect are turning to Blackfyre. It will leave your house in a position backed up against a wall, the Targaryens demanding your fealty. They won't care about your agreement of neutrality.
They will care about other things. Like I said, not everybody plays their hand as recklessly as you do.
If we lose Highgarden, Faye, your chance of getting answers, your chance of uncovering just how deep Costain's corruption, not just involving your family, but the Reach, the realm, is lost.
I lived most of my adult life assuming that I would never have my answers.
And yet you were still looking for them.
No. I'd all but given up until recently, but you're right that a decision must be made. But mine is a matter of which is more important. My answers are what is good for the realm. And while I cannot take responsibility for the entire realm, more's the pity, I can take responsibility for my vassal houses.
That is true.
That is my duty. And I take my promises seriously.
I know that you do.
This feels like a good point for some more actions.
Hmm.
Mara?
I think she's still going in for the convince.
Mm-hmm.
It's that thing of this isn't just about you handing your armies to Samwell. That's not she's trying to make the distinction of like, I'm not here going, give me your armies, give my husband your armies, give the Reach your armies for the choice that they are clearly making as a majority, you know?
Absolutely.
God, your dice rolls are sickening.
I know.
Convince there, same again.
Another
and
convince.
You do have 2 bonus dice in your frame as well.
I'm going to use another bonus dice because I get one anyway with my charactery things. 20 with a 6, but I don't think that's a crit.
No, not quite. Just under.
It's 20.
And so that is just shy of 3 degrees of success. So it's 2 degrees. So it's 2 times your will rank.
So it's 8 for 2 times level rank.
So that'll be 8 composure damage, absorbed a little bit by your DR. Remember, it's been reduced by 1 permanently during this intrigue. Are you still with us? You are. Excellent. You can also take frustration. For each point of frustration you take, you will ignore your will rank in damage.
It does give you negatives to.
It does, yeah. You're at -1
yeah.
dice whilst you're intriguing, yeah. But if you're good,
all
then
right for now.
you're all right for now.
Oh shit! I should have read my sheet a little more carefully. Okay, you're taking a 1d penalty on all convince tests from now on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, alrighty.
Totally forgot about that.
Well, let's take the 5 off the 22. And so that would have been 2 degrees of success. So if you want to give yourself 4 composure back, that puts us on an even keel. And then the dice reduction off of that last roll would be the 3, putting us down to a 16, up to a 17, because you had that +1. Was it?
Yes, up to 17 with a +1.
So 17 still 2 degrees, so we're good. Right. Cool. So it was 8 damage first, 8 damage second, absorbed by your
And
DR.
still that crit?
There was not that original crit, no.
Okay, so that didn't take my composure down.
Yeah.
Didn't take your DR down, no. Yeah.
All right.
Good
then.
catch.
I finally remembered about stats. Aren't you proud of me, Don? Okay.
So, very well,
So
very
he's
much
going in
still
with
in the
convince.
game. Convince.
Yeah.
Lovely jubbly.
It's just, I'm doing the thing for my people. You know, that honor thing, that duty thing that we're
Yeah.
always talking about. I'm doing that.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm reading my sheet now because apparently it's important.
So, persuasion or
So,
deception, your choice.
It's a persuasion test.
Persuasion, yeah.
This ignores 1 DR of your disposition. And I get +2 on whatever this is. I'm
And
going
you got 2 little friends in your frame.
Yeah. Oh, we'll use one of my little friends.
All right.
So 20.
20 versus your intrigue defense.
My intrigue defense is 9.
So that is a crit.
Mm-hmm.
And that is 3 degrees then.
So it ignores 2 of my DR.
15.
15.
Yeah, and with 1 6. Ignores 2 of your DR. Did you
Right,
just say
I'm doing
16?
15.
15? Jesus
Yeah,
Christ.
3 degrees.
Yeah.
Right, it's 3 times will rank, right?
Yep.
So that is. So I will take a point of frustration.
Okay.
How much does that reduce it by?
Your will rank.
4. So I'm sorry, I'm so bad at math and my brain is slow today.
That's okay. Take your time.
Cool. Okay, so that is. Can you take more points of frustration in one go?
Yes,
Or is
you
it
can
just
take
one?
as let me double check, but basically you can take a number up to your
That will be.
will rank, and once they outnumber your will rank, you automatically lose.
Okay.
If your
I've done that
frustration
right.
equals your will rank, you are defeated.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
you will
I've
be.
done that math right. Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. So you'll be taking
Could be one of
probably. I don't know exactly what you've done, but you may be taking a couple of penalty die to your rolls as well. So to remember that. Okie dokie. Okay. Well, be mindful of your next actions, and over to you guys again. Tom.
You're
It
right.
was just like 1 second. Need a biscuit.
That means tea is happening.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Time for a cuppa.
I think Mara does the same thing. She just takes a moment and lets the silence hang. It is your
Please believe me,
choice.
I bear no ill will to your husband. But imagine if someone had used the death of your brother to bind you to an agreement and then ignored that agreement entirely. And when you dared to ask that they stick to it, they leveled threats at you and the people that you love. Words mean nothing in this world. Actions are what counts. I have given my word and my actions to Samuel Tarly. And
I'm not
so
an
far,
ass.
I have seen nothing tangible as a result. I would be a fool if I continued, no matter what my affection towards the man, if I continued to allow him to make promises that he is not in a position to keep.
This war is bigger than you and I and Samuel. I'm not here trying to ask you to consider handing your armies over to Samuel or me. I'm talking about the bigger effort that is here in the Reach with Blackfyre and the change that the Reach wants to push.
And I have no guarantee that yours will be the winning side. I will not.
You have no guarantee that the other side will be the winning side.
Precisely why I am playing both sides.
You're not playing either side, Lady Faye.
Exactly.
That is not the same as playing both sides.
Isn't it?
No. When the war ends, if the war ended tomorrow, sure, you have helped in ways with this side, but you did nothing massively of note. You committed no armies, no men. You'll probably keep your titles and your place at court, but no other gratitudes, perhaps even less than that. The Targaryens...
If my armies did join, and in battle they slew, let's say, 5 houses worth of armies from the opposition, would that be contributing? Taking those people out of the fight?
I'm sure it would be.
And that's precisely what I have done by not siding with my liege lord.
No.
I have taken my house and my vassal houses out of the fight. They are not fighting against you.
But they are not fighting for us. And the
But they
Targaryens will
would
see
have
it the
been.
same way at the end of it. You didn't join them. They are even more unforgiving.
That is a risk I shall have to take.
When you've seen what they will do.
I've spent my entire life in service to them. I know
What
them a
have
little
they
better
done?
than you.
How have they improved the lives of people in the Reach? Because if they had, most of the Reach wouldn't be turning to back this cause.
Do not get the impression that I have a favoured side here. I had no desire for war at all.
Neither do I. If I had my way, there wouldn't be a war.
Well, congratulations bringing your husband to heel. You've done a fabulous job. The Reach
I would
thanks
love
you for your
to see-
service, Lady Mara.
I would love to see anybody try to talk him out of the choices he has made.
Don't tempt me.
He chose to come here.
He
And I
also
couldn't
chose to
stop him.
besiege Highgarden. That lasted 1 day after my involvement.
We weren't besieging Highgarden.
In all but name.
It wasn't the point. We were there for a fair trial. That was an entirely different time.
And he left, on my word.
Do you know why we turned those forces around in the first place? To sit at Highgarden? Because Lord John and Samuel's father wanted to raid into Dawn. Again. For no reason other than to put the Dornish in their place. To raid and pillage and prove that somehow the Reach knew better and the Dornish should stay where they are. And the two of us turned that host around and gave it a different purpose to avoid that conflict. Believe me, I dislike war just as much as you. But we are here now. And my choice was to follow Samuel into war, or to sit by myself behind walls somewhere where I was doing nothing and I had no voice and no power and no say in what happens.
I had you pegged for a stronger woman than this, Lady Mara. I have to admit I'm disappointed. I thought the woman who negotiated with that house mere weeks ago, I thought maybe she has potential. Maybe she's a strong woman. Maybe she can rein him in.
It's not my job to rein him in, just like it isn't his job to rein me in. That's the same language that has been used to keep me out of rooms, or where men have tried to.
Which world are you living in? A man in charge of one of the largest armies in the realm. A man like Samuel. It is absolutely your job to rein him in. Because if you don't, nobody will.
I counsel him. I tell him what I think. I tell him when I think he's wrong, and I support him when I think he's right.
Well, you may wish to up your game a little because his decision-making since becoming acquainted with you has become rather unpleasant and foolish. And that was not the man I knew.
That has nothing to do with me. I once tried to keep him out of this entirely. I tried. There was an option, and he would not take it. Enzo came to see me around the time of the trial to offer both of us to leave Westeros, leave the trial, forget anything that had happened with Marcia, just go. He'd get us a ship and set us up somewhere nice in Essos, I'm sure. Believe me, I would love to take that option. Leave here and its politics behind. Somebody else can fill the shoes of scrabbling over the mess that is constantly made in this place.
Do you know him at all? That you would even present such an option to him? Fleeing?
I presented the option to him for the sake of Enzo being kind enough to offer it. I didn't believe for a second he'd take it, and I still don't now.
Well, if that is your only example of you attempting to redirect Samuel's will, then I have to say I am
How
less
would you
than
have me
impressed.
redirect it, Lady Faye?
I'm not here to tutor you
No.
and how to train your husband, Lady Mara. I've done enough
You sit
for
there
you.
and expect me to rein him in, to find some better option. This is the options that I have. And again, I'm not here to tell you that you should hand your armies over to Samuel. I'm telling you to have a look at the bigger picture. About what you can do with your armies on this side of the war. About what information you can access that you're looking for from Costain and wherever that conspiracy goes. The good that you can do from the Reach. Because most of it has turned to Blackfyre. There is no system here that lets the people choose what they want to go through. They head up to court, they beg for an audience with the council. They hope that they are listened to. The Reach is telling you, all of us, what it wants right now.
Your side of the Reach. Unfortunately, you, as is the case with Samwell, are deaf to people that are not already your friends. There are many houses in the Reach, Lady Mara, who are not part of your little club.
Yet. More and more pour in every day. You saw Ashford. It's not just about Blackfyre. It's not just about winning the fight at Highgarden. It's what happens afterwards. This is a chance for the Reach to
I
be
saw
better than it
Ashford.
was.
Ashford happened because I allowed it to happen. Because I stayed silent and allowed you to speak, even though it was not your place. I think there is only one thing you have been correct about today, Lady Mara. That is, we should be cautious of Costain, and I should be angry with him. The Reach is at risk from a man like that, who unwittingly put events in motion that led to your former husband being disposed of, and your new marriage, and you being incapable of keeping the boy out of trouble. He needs help. He needs a strong hand and a spine. So I suggest you grow one.
Need to speed this up a little bit whilst with some actions. There's some spicy stuff going on. Oh,
I can't remember whose turn it is, if I'm honest.
it'll be yours first.
Yeah.
Me. Okay.
Yeah.
Hit me.
It's not that kind of channel.
It's a bit.
It's a bit.
A little bit.
It's a little cheeky slap.
I think this is still probably going to be a convince.
Oh,
She's
for
still
sure.
trying to push this. Because in her mind, Faye's got it into her head that's like, I'm not giving Sam all my armies. And she's trying to point out, I'm not asking you to give them to him. I'm asking you to look at the Reach and give your armies to the Reach and the force that is pushing here. How many dice do I have in the box now? Because I can't see it, so.
You have one remaining bonus die.
I will.
You will suffer a penalty die for each frustration you have, and you will suffer
Does the sheet do that?
No,
already?
it does
It
not.
doesn't, okay.
I do not think it does. And you'll suffer a penalty die from phase quality
Yeah.
as well.
Still a 23.
Oh, disgusting. That is wonderful.
Right. Is that different from before?
It should be. I put
Drop
in.
lowest 6, drop...
Did it not? I
lowest
can roll
3?
it again. Hold on and make sure. I might have pressed the thing wrong. That's there.
Yeah, you're keeping more dice than before. I don't know how.
Oh, okay. There we go. It didn't take off the
That was
penalty
only-
though for some reason.
that's
So
only
5.
one.
Oh,
Did I still roll that
so
right?
you'll keep... How many dice should you be rolling?
I have no idea.
Yeah, all right. I want to make sure this is done properly. There's two of you going at each other, so let me just give it a second. Mara, you are there. So you have Persuasion 4, Convince 4. So you'd be rolling 8 dice normally, plus your 1.
Like 2 bonus dice, 1 from there, 1 from my abilities.
Yep.
And then it's a +1, but then it should be -3 3 dice.
So let's have a look at your frustration at the moment.
2 for the frustration, 1 for phase.
Yeah, so you are rolling 10 dice and you are keeping
10d6.
4, 3, 2 dice, I think.
2 dice. I think this is done keep 1.
Oh, actually, do you know what? I think it is just keep 1. Because if your test die, if your persuasion is 4 and you got 3 penalty die, you're keeping 1 dice.
Keep 1, so it's 6 total.
I'm guessing
There
that
we go.
doesn't affect your intrigue defense. That doesn't beat your intrigue defense. Millie.
No.
No. Okay. Okay. Oh, it's clear that Mara is getting flustered now in this intrigue. So, Millie, what would you like to do?
Yeah, Faye's still. It's an aggressive convince now because she's pissed me off. But it is very much like this guy's come in and he's threatened me, and you're now being all sneaky, and I'm not gonna let my morals bend.
Yeah.
To people who would do that.
Intimidate also comes off will rank in terms of the damage if you wanted to, maybe. Oh, yeah.
I don't think it's quite intimidate yet. You'll know if it is.
Okay. I mean, there's plenty of taunting going on. I'm seeing that happening.
Like Mara and Faye would have very similar intimidate scores. We'd just be locked in a deadlock.
Okay, so this...
You have one little friend left.
do I use my little friend? Oh, where's the fun? Where's the fun? This already ignores 1 DR, and I get +2 on it. I'm gonna stick this in flat and see what happens.
V, did you use a bonus die from your framing?
Yes.
Yeah.
17.
Yes, but that's not quite double my intrigue defense.
Yeah.
Intrigue defense is 9.
So that is 2 degrees of success, though. So you'll do 2 times your will rank. 10 composure damage.
Do you know what? I am happy to bow out here. I think Mara is less upset. She's not necessarily upset by Faye's words. She's frustrated that in her mind she can't get her to see what she's talking about.
Sure thing. Millie, the power is now in your hands. You have defeated Mara, and so she is on a bound to complete, follow through on, or be convinced of what you have told her today. So in plain terms, for your sake, for V's sake, what is your objective? What do you want to convince Mara of?
Faye wants to convince her that her staying out of the combat of this is the morally right thing to do for her people.
Okay.
She's not going to be nice about how this conversation ends, even though she's won. But yeah, that's it, essentially.
V, you have options. So you can obey that, and so you can be convinced by that, or you can take a point of stress instead. A point of stress will impose a -1 dice penalty to awareness, cunning, and status tests until it can be kind of, I guess, organically resolved. You can take up to 3... you can take up to 2 things of stress, and then when you get a 3rd stress, you get a new drawback, which is fun. But yeah, this would be your first, I think, at the moment. I don't think you've got any stress.
Yeah, because the other one got cleared because that was from way back.
A while back, yeah.
I am going to take the stress.
Okay.
Because though Mara kind of understands, she doesn't necessarily think that Faye is false in what she believes. But there are, Mara's loyalty also lies with what Samwell thinks is best. And so, although she doesn't necessarily disbelieve Faye, that Faye thinks this is the best option, Mara does not believe that it's the best option.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think she probably like in that, again, that awkward silence, just stands up and, well, thank you for your time. And just kind of takes a moment and looks around the tent and has a very tight smile that's not necessarily ungenuine, but is more for politeness sake than anything, and leaves without another word.
I think before she gets to the exit, Faye will just grab her wrist, go, do you think on what I've said about Samuel? I do not want to see him go the way of your former husband. And on that note, and she'll pick up the dresses that Mara has brought in and hand them back to her. I think we've had quite enough of each other's cast-offs.
And she'll just take them and leave. And she'll go to find Samuel.
Woo!
I love Faye so much.
Incredible.
But yeah, Mara goes looking for Samuel. Probably like pushes the clothes off onto somebody who's, a servant of House Tarly.
Miria.
How am I supposed to follow that? Holy shit.
We'll find out. Scouting your way up the Boneway, along the foothills, the cliffs, and the little passageways that your scouts take you through. Dawn is still quite warm this side of the Red Mountains, and is unseasonably warm. But you manage to push on, push north, push towards the Will River, and the castle keep that you've heard from your scouts is currently being besieged by Prince Maekar Targaryen and his army there. You make your way over the last cliff that is a sheer wall, a strong hill as we know it, down towards the natural pathway that extends for a few leagues out towards the east and then meets the Dornish Sea there on the coastline. And stretch out to the north before you, you can see the besieging army, the tents with their colourful red and black banners, various flags and banners running from poles and tents that carry the 4 red dragons of Prince Maekar's heraldry. You look over towards the castle, Will, and you can see that thankfully their banners still flutter along the crenellations and the towers of their own castle keep. And so it seems that the Wills are being besieged here, but they are holding out. But looking out further into the bay, you can see a small flotilla of ships. Large ships, probably transport ships, and a couple with black sails and a banner flying from the aft of a black field and a white dragon.
Oh, fuck.
And as your scouts look over, they can describe to you what they know of the Boneway. The fleet is a surprise, my lady, but it seems the Wills are holding out, at least. We have not been able to get any kind of sullying back and forth through the Sully port, postern gate, or anything. We've not been able to get into their walls, even get a message. Ravens are being shot out of the sky. It seems that they are here, the Targaryens, for the long haul, and so we have an opportunity here to perhaps create our own hammer and anvil. But honestly, my lady, we feel, and the Brotherhood particularly, the Order of the Blood Royal believes it would be safer to allow them to make their way into the Boneway. My lady knows whose banner that is. And he motions to the fleet.
Oh, I'm quite familiar.
If the Master of Whispers is here, then he is no doubt here to move Maekar along. It is no secret that the Targaryens have been suffering in the south, up to Sunspear. As we believe, as we've heard, and the missives that you have read, suggest that Sunspear itself is now being besieged by His Grace, King Daeron II.
Interesting that the Bloodraven would abandon the south to come here, though. He was with Prince Martell.
He moves as quickly as his proverbial bird. There's no doubt that he made his way north, perhaps, when the word came out that King Daemon's forces had landed on the northern coast. But perhaps he is here to correct Maekar's behavior. Perhaps he is here to move them east. We cannot tell. But their size, it worries me.
It's concerning. The fact that they're receiving reinforcements is worrying. I think perhaps you're right. The smartest thing to do, retreat a little down the Boneway. They make their progress down here. We have the advantage. This is our land. We know it. They're going through a funnel. They can't very well lead cavalry charges or bring their siege equipment if they're trapped.
There are some excellent choke points that we can take advantage of. We might also take advantage of these hills and some of the old vultures that we know have come to our side. Perhaps know the mountains best. We're to head a little west from here, my lady, tonight, to meet up with an old mountain man who hears a lot from the camp and from the surrounding area. He knows this valley and these cliffs very well. We've made contact with him over the last few weeks, and so he would be best placed to speak on what information there might be from the siege, and perhaps even what Bloodraven is here to do.
All right. This evening, you say?
His cave, his camp is not far from here, and so we will camp nearby, and then he will know.
All right.
And so you make your way that evening. Kind of familiar now to you, the direction of Vulture's Roost a little. You're a couple of valleys over, but you're sure that as the sun begins to set, in those shadows over the tops of the mountains, nestled in there, you can't necessarily exactly trust your senses, but you feel like you can see that broken little tower and ruin on its little cliff edge off in the distance. And so the scouts set down a campfire for the night after having travelled a few leagues west. And scarily silently, a figure approaches from the west. The scouts stand up once one of them, they kind of all, like, insightfully, the kind of one stands and the rest see that they've stood and they're all up now and they're all looking over to this old figure. And your heart sinks as you recognize the face this old man has.
After Maria's done picking up her heart out of her stomach, she gestures for her troops to, to relax. This old man is a welcome guest. And, she gestures for him to come sit.
Stooped back, bent forward, he ambles along a gnarled wooden walking stick. He only has a couple of teeth left inside his thin lips, and they're yellowed. The sounds of his ragged breathing creates a whistle through his mouth. His eyes are white, the pupils faded to the point where they're barely visible. And there's just a few scraggly, wild strands of gray hair on his spotted head. And he makes his way using his stick to find his path, his ear cocked to the side just slightly. And he turns the staff over. He lowers himself down to sit, and he lays the staff across his lap. He smiles.
And I think as he takes his seat, Maria will, she'll ask for some privacy, ask for her men to just step away for a little bit. Not too far away, but just to give us a little room to talk.
A shout away. Okay.
Yeah. And she'll say very quietly, "You look a lot older than what I remember."
He continues to smile. He's not looking at you. He's just staring straight ahead. And he replies, a man is much, much older than he appears.
I heard that you had achieved what I had asked you to do. And I wondered when I would see you again. Didn't expect it to be this soon.
Life is a series of events that all happen precisely when they are meant to. A man's death, a girl's promise, a chance meeting between two old friends.
I suppose you're here to collect on that promise.
Man is here to help a girl, as he has for a long time, years now.
What do you mean? I thought our bargain was done.
He lowers his head towards his lap, rocks forward a little bit. His hands come up to his face and he turns. And when he turns, you can see his face shift with a hand over his skin. His old scraggly hair becomes long, dark, full of life. His skin younger, darker, his eyes darker. And you would recognize the face of Helios, the warrior who fought and helped you take Castle Ironwood, the man who risked his life to stop the ships at port, to capture the scorpions so that you could take the castle. And his back straightens up even as his hand moves. And he smiles, looks directly at you, and he says, "It takes many steps for us to get where we're going. Tasks as large as the tasks before us. Well, we take them one step at a time. And the girl needed more help than just the death of a prince."
I never knew.
Of course.
I am thankful.
A man is glad to hear his services are appreciated. And look at the girl now, how far she has come, how close she is to obtaining What is it a girl wants?
And she's been looking at the man as she's been talking, but at this point she turns her head away, and I think she stares into the fire, and she has a distant look to her face, I think, and she's quiet for a moment. Her hands are in her lap, and there's a twitch of a hand towards her stomach. As she says quietly, freedom, security, hope for the future.
These are all very, very noble things to wish. And a girl has chosen war as the path to achieve those things. I, a man who once had a name, knows this path. This war you choose now, it is but a shadow of a much older war. So very old. A war between slaves and their masters. This war, the war of old Valyria, still stains the land, and you fight it now, just as the House of Black and White has fought it for 1,000 years longer.
I hope to end it. I hope to end it so that those that come after me don't have to fight. Those that come after me can live free of the dragon's shadow.
And how will a girl end it? What must she do?
I have to fight in every way I know how to purge these tyrants from this land. Whether by blade or by word or both. But I can't rest until it's done.
Oh, no. You must do better than this. You cannot win a war with your heart. You must have a plan. A girl must know precisely every step she will take to achieve what it is she wants. There, not so far away, 2 dragons gather, hungry. They have a plan. I can promise you that.
My father said, the dragon is hungry. I never really knew what that meant as a girl. But I'm learning. And I have a plan for the dragons at my gates. I know the pride of these dragons. And I know this land, and I know my people know this land. And just as the Dornish had done hundreds of years before when the dragons first landed on their sands, we'll use our land to trap these dragons.
And when a girl sees a dragon in his armor, his breath full of fire on the battlefield, so strong this dragon is, so thick his plate. What then does a girl do?
The girl will strike like a scorpion in the sand.
But a girl is just a girl and not a scorpion. A scorpion has its tail.
That is true. And all I have is my spear.
He leans back, his clothes still ragged, though he looks younger and Dornish now. And he reaches into the inside of his tunic to a little hidden pouch, and he pulls out what looks like a baby goat's head skeleton, lined with leather on the inside and fitted with sort of a jagged edged cork on the top, so that the skull is upside down. He holds it in his hand. He leans forward again. He looks up to you and he smiles and he says, a man thought that there would come a time when a girl would walk this path. She has her spear, but spears break. A girl may nick a dragon only to be devoured after. She has but one strike to make that truly matters. If a girl wishes for freedom, and he gestures towards your midsection, family.
And what will the cost be?
It is not so much that I ask for this favor. When a girl's child is old enough to travel, a girl and a boy will sail together to Bravos. They will knock 3 times on the doors of the house of Black and White. A woman will answer the door. She will give a girl a token to be delivered. The girl will leave her child with this woman for safekeeping until she completes her task. Should a girl fail, a boy will learn to have no face. Does this seem fair to you?
Her eyes sort of brim with tears at the corners. And should I succeed?
A girl has freedom. A girl has family. A girl returns home with a child.
And what's to say that once you have, and she struggles to say the words, my child, that when I come to reclaim them, that I can, that you will not renege on your agreement.
A man understands why you would have the suspicion. A girl lives in a nation of vultures and snakes, liars and thieves. But a man comes from the old world, where we were slaves who overthrew the masters. A man has much empathy. A man keeps his promises, even those that take years.
And what would you accept as the end of my mission? The eradication of all Targaryens, or every one of the Valyrian bloodline?
He turns the goat skull over in his palm and raises his hand to rub his face. And as he does, it drifts across his face again. You're looking at the fiery red hair of Rob, Sir Oliver's squire, and eventually knight. His blue eyes, icy blue eyes, looking back up to you with a lot of empathy. And he continues to turn that skull over in his palm, and purses his lips. What I'm offering you right now, this poison, this is for you bringing your child to Bravos to complete a task. But there is still the matter of you keeping your old promise to me. The doom of old Valyria, Miria, it was never completed. There was a house that got away. And the tyranny and the slavery, it continued. It's infected your lands here, plagued the people. It doesn't matter what this house calls itself. It doesn't matter what color their dragon is. You're part of the bargain. Your promise to keep. When this war is done, you will ensure that there are no more dragons left in the world. And the world will be better for it.
And if I refuse?
I'd be lying if I told you that I knew you well. You know, I have memories of those who I've given the gift to, but they're not mine. They're still pleasant. I remember when you were a girl. I remember Vulture's Roost. Everything we went through together. I'm not some puppet master pulling your strings. I'm rooting for you. I always have. But I keep my promises. And you already know what'll happen if you do not.
I just needed you to say it. I already knew. And like yourself, I keep my promises. So I will do this. I will dedicate my life to the destruction of the dragons. I will free the lands from their tyranny. And when the time comes, I will deliver my child to Bravos. And she's like crying at this point. But I swear I will return. I will collect them.
He stands up from where he's sitting. He takes a couple of steps over to you and hesitates for a second, and then tries to extend a hand to your shoulder, look you right in the eyes.
Yeah, she doesn't flinch or anything from it.
This isn't doom. Not your doom, anyways. And consider, maybe, just for a moment, that the way to win, the way to end that old Valyrian bloodline isn't through battle, but through a few very careful pricks.
She looks you in the eye and nods. And you can tell she's not sold that this is fine. You know, she's still upset, but she's steeling herself as she nods and looks at you.
Feel the goat skull press gently against your midsection.
She wrap a hand around it. Thank you, old friend.
He lets go of your shoulder and turns, and as he does, back towards the light, his face kind of having been somewhat in shadow, back towards the firelight. He passes his hand over, he stoops, and his hair turns scraggly and white. His eyes go white, the cataracts barely visible. And he reaches down, he picks up his staff, and he leans against it, and he says, I have places to go, people to listen to, and a girl has much to do as well. So much to do. A man will see her again.
And that hits her almost like a threat. She feels that, like, you know, I'll see you again. But she stands to watch you leave. Be safe.
You can hear his breath, his ragged breath whistling through his missing teeth, almost like music, as he slowly starts to amble away from the camp and back towards the cave he lives in.
No, she does think about it, Tom. It did cross my mind. But no, she lets him leave. And then she crumples back down to the ground and just
Samuel. Riding across the river on a few little paddle boats. Horses are left on the south side of the Cockles went. And your parlay party heads over to the north side, where dismounted stand the Fossaways. Sir Martin Fossaway, Lord of Cider Hall, and his son, Stefan Fossaway. Sir Martin, tired looking, an older knight, still, by the looks of him, has a little flicker of fire in his eyes. But in contrast, his son, Stefan, stands proud and has that kind of ambitious look as he regards your group riding across the river, and has a half smile on his face, his kind of stubbly face. He looks quick and muscular in his armor, while his father stands in soft leathers. Still armor of a sort, but it's definitely a demonstration of trust, pride. You're not sure. Who's coming with you on this?
Very good question. So obviously, Lord Harris, after all, this is his army. And I think Samuel would ask Lady Mara to come, and he would have at least asked, probably not engaged in a full conversation, which they should probably have. Lady Faye, if she even wanted to come to be part of the parlay with House Fossaway, knowing that there's some history there.
If Harris hadn't already invited her to be part of this, she'd be very disappointed. She will be there. Absolutely.
Okay.
Harris would invite her, yeah.
Yeah, so I guess
That's going to be an awkward invite then. Do you want to come to the... Yeah, I know. I'm just packing. What?
In true form. I love it. Yeah, absolutely. Okay, well, at least the four of you stride forward. A couple of guards.
Some knights too, like a couple of knights.
Yeah, absolutely. And there are some household guards standing behind the Fossaways, and their yellow banner with their red apple fluttering in the wind. Wind is picking up now, and you can feel it in the air, that slight shift, that chill. It's about to rain.
Just so we know, it's just Faye that knows that the Fossaways were responsible for her family.
Is that not,
right?
that's not public
That's not
knowledge?
common knowledge, I don't think.
Okay, so then he wouldn't even think to not invite her. He definitely would have you should.
I think that would be difficult knowledge to like find easily, but I wouldn't say it's like a deep dark secret or anything. If
Samuel
you were
doesn't
there,
do difficult knowledge.
No, fair enough. If you were around at the time and in those armies, you might know that the Fossaways killed her.
I mean, there'd been like a rivalry between those two houses anyway, but it was mainly through cider festivals.
Okay, so that's probably what Samuel's aware of, is like they have competing cider festivals.
Yes, and that rivalry is known. That's the common knowledge for sure, that there is some rivalry there. I don't think Harris would necessarily know that, though. Interestingly, being kind of separate from the whole
That's
thing
true.
for a while. So his invite is very genuine, whereas maybe Samuel's invite.
That's because we're friends.
So as they're riding, as they're approaching the parlay, and you can feel the storm coming, Samuel rides alongside Harris, and I imagine maybe like they stop at one point before they ride the short distance the rest of the way, and he kind of pulls up his horse next to Harris, and he leans over to Harris and smiles and says, "How are you feeling, my lord?"
Good, thank you. You?
I'm feeling well. I'm feeling optimistic about today. I don't suppose that this morning anyone delivered any news about my father to you.
I'm sorry, Sam. I didn't hear anything.
I'm not concerned. I know you'll escape.
I'm confident of the Fossaways too. They fought for the Black Dragon in the past. I'm sure they'll be at our side when we march on Highgarden.
I'm surprised that they're not already, to be honest. But I'm sure with your growing story around yourself and our army at our backs, that they will fall in as the rest of the Reach has. My lord, have you had the conversation yet?
He looks apprehensive, and he looks back at someone in the party, but he shakes his head slowly.
Well, perhaps if we have a reason to celebrate tonight, once all of this is done, before we begin the final ride to Highgarden, it might be an appropriate time.
Come, the Fosterways are waiting. And he walks forward towards them.
Yes, my lord.
As you all approach, Sir Martin bellows out from across the kind of natural path around this meadow. Fireball Reborn. Well, lad, let's have a look at you. And he kind of, gives Harris a look up and down. And he looks over to his son, who he kind of gives a half smile to, and Stefan grins back at him before looking back at the party there before you. And he says, "Come to recruit me for the Black Dragon again, I imagine."
Samuel steps forward side by side with Harris, and he says, "Yes, Lord, we have been rallying the Reach
I can
almost
tell.
entirely. It has fallen in with the Black Dragon, and now we are here at your doorstep to do the same."
He looks at you and some of the remaining scars and some discoloration to your face, and he asks, "My Lord Samuel, are you well?"
Have you not heard, my lord?
I have heard a few things. I'm interested to know what happened.
We lay siege to Summerhall. We attempted to free its wards, but the Targaryens decided to burn down their own home. The prince burned down his own home, burned their people alive, burned the wards of the Reach and elsewhere alive. Our casualties were minor, but good men died. Well, as you can see, am not quite as unburnt as the stories claim, but I am well.
Good. Disgusting behavior from the Targaryens.
It is perhaps the inherent madness that infects them like a disease, my lord.
I want to be upfront with you, my lords, my ladies. I want you to be upfront with me. I could well be moved to join your cause once more, but what are your plans? What are your plans for the Reach, and what is your strategy in this kingdom?
Gives a wary look aside to Harris. And he's waiting to see if because Harris is a fairly timid individual so far, but Samuel's trying to give him the opportunities to step forward and to speak up. But if there's a moment where Harris doesn't open his mouth or doesn't look like he's about to speak, Samuel will continue speaking.
I think, by all means, don't role play with it, but it can be like he and Harris are kind of going through it together.
Sure, yeah. Samuel says, "Well, we intend to rally Highgarden to our side once we have finished meeting with you. We believe very strongly that Highgarden, its forces, will join us. We intend to defeat the Targaryen host here in the Reach, and then move the war beyond the Reach so that our people, our homes, our farms, our villages, our castles are not where this battle is being fought.
And are you to take Highgarden as your house? As your claim? Either of you?
My house, Lord, is Hornhill, as it has been for many generations.
Where Prince Baelor is camped, by all accounts.
I have heard as much.
I'm surprised you're not marching there. I'm sure my son would, if Cider Hall were threatened.
More now than ever before, my lord, it is important that we unite the Reach before war ignites. I have done what I can, and Lord Harris has done what he can to unite the people under the hope for a better future, both for the realm and for all the lords in the realm, our wealth, our prosperity, our freedom. And to do so requires not making decisions based on emotion, but based on what is right.
They all throw a very pointed glance at Mara at that.
Mara's not paying any attention to Faye. She's kind of locked in focus on this conversation that's happening just ahead of her. And is probably not even, doesn't even have her horse beside Faye. She's probably somewhere a little bit behind and off to the side near Samuel and Harris.
And Faye will be by Harris's side.
I imagine Mara's the other side. There's like that awkward distance between the
The
two of
awkward
them.
triangle.
The Tyrells claim a lot of land in the valley around the Mander, west of our house. It's fertile land, ripe for orchards. This is our price. The lands west of here to Highgarden, to its very walls.
He looks aside to Lord Harris, just to first glance, like, is there a visceral reaction that Harris has to this?
Harris actually says to him, and he kind of declares so that you can all hear, "My house, my lord, is House Ball, and I intend to take residence there, rebuild the ruins Targaryens left. But the Reach has and will continue to be governed from Highgarden. I do not need its lands east of the city walls. They could be yours. What do you have to offer?" And Sir Martin says, he lists out some forces that he's got. He's willing to supply them to you.
Lord Fossaway, I think that the point you make, what you expect in return for joining us in this endeavor, is an important one that we should all consider in the Reach moving forward. There is much undeveloped land, much room for growth, new keeps, new orchards, new villages. And when this war is over, the Reach will be more independent than it has in quite some time. We have an opportunity to work together for growth and prosperity. I can think of no houses who would be more suited for planning this sort of growth than House Fossaway and House Rowan.
And he looks over to Lady Faye briefly.
Speak, if you have a mind to.
I see no white and gold banners over the bank.
No, strange, isn't it?
Very. Pray tell.
Faye will kind of shoot him a look and then turn to Harris. You have been long away from Westeros, my lord, and I fear that perhaps you are missing certain vital pieces of information that would aid you with this negotiation. The Reach is as you know, Lord Fossaway, a land rich in tradition and honour, and these traditions shape the landscape of our culture, and they form the backbone of the Lord's dominion over their people. Unless I am mistaken, the current sovereign is yet to be deposed. Is that correct? And Lord Ball here has yet to be formally presented to the people of the Reach as the Lord Paramount.
All in good time.
In which case, I am currently the highest ranking person here. And as Marshal of the North Marches, I will speak to the people who depend on me. I do not abandon my duties in time of strife.
So she's your hostage, and he just points at Harris. Right. And Harris
It would seem
looks
that way, wouldn't it?
kind of a bit like glitching, like he's kind of trying to figure out quite exactly how to navigate this.
Yes, she's our hostage.
Under certain agreements. But my decision remains unchanged. However, while I refuse to order my people and my vassal houses to arms for a cause that I do not believe in, I see my title as a duty to the Reach as much as it is their duty to me. I've done what I can do to protect the Reach from the decisions that have been wrought by certain people. But I believe this decision must be yours, based on facts, not falsehoods.
Well, we're in a very good position then, aren't we? Should we join your banners, and should we be victorious, as the good lady says? My first son, Lord Stefan, will become Lord Stefan of Golden Grove, Marshal of the North Marches. And my second son...
I should rather marry your horse.
Shut up. And my second-born son will have Cider Hall. Are we in agreement? And Harris is still glitching out a little bit. He looks over, first glance of panic over to Lady Faye, and then over to Samwell.
Samuel holds up a hand towards Harris, and he looks down the line across Harris, beyond Harris to Lady Faye, and he quirks an eyebrow.
No.
You let your hostage make your tactical decisions.
I am not in the practice of doing so.
Well then, what's your answer?
My lords, I find that your request is interesting, and we shall return to our camp, speak amongst ourselves, and deliver you our answer.
Well then. Enjoy your time here.
It looks like it's going to rain. Be well. Stay inside. We'll send a missive in the morning.
Keep dry. And he turns back towards his keep, and he and his entourage, along with his son, head back along the path through
As
the
his
meadows and the
son
orchards.
turns, she'll just blow him a kiss and then do a shoo motion.
He winks at you, sticks out his tongue a little bit, and then he walks back around with a swagger.
Samuel turns his horse around so that he's facing first Mara and then everybody once he gets it all the way around. And he says, well, that could have gone better. It could have gone worse, but I think it's time for dinner. Shall we?
Harris says to you, the Fossways are a demanding bunch. Prideful too. But then he kind of looks...
Fossways are a bunch of pricks.
And as you say
and
that...
all the Reach knows it.
Your clock that Harris is looking over towards your camp, and you can hear a mix of loud voices. There are a couple of shouts, chants of Tarly, and it seems that people are beginning to swoop in on one location in the camp.
Samuel doesn't converse anymore. He kicks the side of his horse and springs off back towards camp on his horse.
Mara immediately follows him.
Same.
You get to the boats, paddle across the river as quickly as you can, and then you make your way through the camp again as quickly as you can. And you find, once you get through the crowds, your squire Gregor is being held aloft on back of like shoulders and stuff. But as you get further through, there seems to have been some mixed messaging in the crowd, and your father is effectively on a stretcher. Seems to be slipping in and out of waking, and he is boiling hot to the touch.
Samuel, at first, when he sees Gregor, like his face splits in a great big smile, and he slides and jumps off of his horse without stopping it. Kind of stumbles a little bit on his feet. He's wearing his armor, so he almost falls. And then he pushes through the crowd. And when he sees his father, it's a slow realization, one detail at a time. He's on a stretcher. He's hot. There's people surrounding him. Some people seem worried. He's sweating, and he shoves through those people, and he drops down to one knee. He reaches for Glendon's hand, his father's hand, and he leans forward, leans close, stutters a breath, and says, "Don't worry, Father. You're here now. We have healers. We have the best. You're going to be all right."
And his eyes flicker, but he barely responds, and he definitely doesn't do so verbally.
He leans down and he kisses his father's hand, the top of his hand. He gives it a squeeze. And he wants to call out for help. He wants to look for a comforting face, but he just feels lost at that moment. And he just stays there squeezing his father's hands and looking into his eyes.
Faye is standing right behind him, watching this happen, and there's just a tear rolling down her cheek. And she'll just put her hand on his shoulder, not asking anything, just that there's somebody.
Mara's probably knelt down next to him after he has the moment to talk to his father, and she's got kind of her hand part on the stretcher, and just part of it kind of rested on the knee that Samuel's taken in kind of pulling him closer. And she knows there's not much she can do to comfort him in this moment because there's a crowd around them, and it's really hard to kind of try and offer someone comfort when you're that watched and being scrutinized in that way. But she kind of just gently whispers in her ear, "We'll get him help. It will be all right. He's here now. He's safe here."
Kind of feels torn to the left where Faye's hand is, and then torn back to the right. when Mara leans close and whispers, and he just blinks and he nods distantly, and he just continues to hold his father's hand and wait for something to happen, for something to change.
I think it's Mara who probably takes a moment and then stands up and starts very kind of politely asking people to make way so that they can carry on moving the stretcher through. And then she's pulling in guards and servants for, prepare a tent, get cold water ready, find the healers, bring them here, but very calmly and kind of pulling people as they walk without shouting, without kind of any big theatrics of panic, because that's not going to help, but just asking people to clear the way and allowing the kind of celebration that obviously Gregor's come back and Lord Tarly is here, and not wanting to dim that down because that's important and people shouldn't worry, but pulling in the people that should be going off to get help and then sending them on their way so that by the time they arrive wherever these people are taking this stretcher, people and things have been assembled as they should be.
And as if by a wave, the storm breaks, and suddenly and violently it begins to rain. And that's where we'll finish tonight's session. Thank you very much, friends. We need to be quick because I know Don needs to get away. So let's go round. Let us know where we can find you if you'd like, what you're up to, if you're up to stuff, or just let us know generally how you felt about the session. Tom, I'm sorry we didn't get to come back and recap your little torture scene. I do want to come back to him and see what the consequences of that are.
The prisoner can wait.
The prisoner can wait. It's all fine. It's all fine. We've got a Theon Greyjoy situation going on. It's fine. Yeah. But yeah. So what are your plans now? Very quickly, because I'm interested to know.
Or Enzo's plan? What?
Yeah,
as in like Enzo or me?
Enzo's plans.
Enzo's going to find out what information he's getting. And then Faye needs to be told.
Okay. Pretty
so,
simple,
I mean, it's very
nice.
possible that, well, it's a pretty sensitive piece of information, and you couldn't trust that to a messenger. So,
apparently, you can trust all sorts of bits of information to a messenger.
Enzo's going to return.
He might. He might.
Very cool. All right.
You better hurry up because I think I'm getting married.
Yeah. Just getting married to people all over the place. So that's currently the plan, depending on the information given.
All right, cool.
But
where are you? What are you up to?
I don't really do much anymore. I'm too busy working, or just recovering from working. But on Tuesdays we do Phasmophobia on Susie's channel, or if it's not Phasmophobia, probably Project Zomboid, won't it, Susie? Probably.
Now you're all suckered in. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Sweet.
But yeah, that's about it. Apart from. Yeah, on Thursdays.
Nice, cool. Thanks so much. Millie, where can we find you? What are you up to?
Hi, you can find me over on Twitter as Amelia Tyler, because that's my name still. That was awesome. I have been looking forward to like a full-on intrigue with Mara since I started this show. We've had conversations before, but we haven't actually traded like full-on punches, and that was awesome. Like she was getting so many nice jabs in, but Faye's just got a bit of a haymaker on her, and yeah, she's essentially an intrigue brick wall. So that's interesting. And that got bitchy. I love doing scenes like that with you,
spicy.
That's so great.
Yeah,
it's really awkward doing it with Don watching though. For some reason, it's almost like Samuel's in the room. It's a little bit weird.
All right,
like, he's a nice boy, and you've let him.
Could you imagine how badly he'd react to watching the two of them actually argue? Like he could hear about it, but seeing it, I think, would be a whole different thing.
I'm kind of torn. He'd go either one way or the other. He'd either be like, oh no, this is the worst thing ever, or he'd just throw oil on them and encourage like the female version of the wrestling troupe.
It would be like, ladies, please continue.
No, he suddenly like finds Heartsbane. He's found new details in the hilt to find really interesting over in the corner.
Just don't look.
and it's not happening.
But yeah,
Awesome.
that was really, really cool.
I'm so glad it
the
played out
Fossilways
well.
can get fucked, by the way. That's just not going to happen. But well done for making him so delightfully horrid.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I wanted someone who was more bargaining and, prideful and stuff than
He's
Ashford.
just gross.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
wanted something in contrast. Awesome.
Yeah. I'm going to seduce his son and then still say no.
Cool. Well, what they were suggesting wasn't necessarily marriage. It was just, yeah, we have that now. That's ours.
Yeah, no, you don't get that. No. What am I doing? Tomorrow, I'm over on a brand new channel. I'm over on The Alchemists.
Ooh.
Try spelling that. I'll do it in chat. Hang on a minute. It's here. We're doing a brand new concept for a show, which is essentially kind of like choose your own adventure, but with professional actors. So it's going to be me, some dude called Jay Britton. I don't know if you've heard of him.
Don't know her.
And Gareth David Lloyd, who you might know from Torchwood and a whole bunch of other stuff. So we're going to be doing something a little bit special tomorrow night from 7 UK time, I believe it is.
Nice.
And then next week, I think at some point we've got the finale of Glitch over on the Wandering Inn, but that keeps getting pushed back, so I'm not quite sure what's happening with that.
Yeah.
I've got a D&D campaign starting at some point soon. I'm playing D&D for the first time. Yeah, and there's other stuff I haven't talked about yet. So
lovely.
Yeah, but follow me on Twitter. I'll tell you stuff when I can tell you stuff.
Cool, nice. Thank you so much. Susie, where are you? What are you up to? Who are you giving your babies away to?
Fucking heartbroken for Maria, dude. She cannot catch a fucking break. Awful.
Pete, that was peak Jonathan Frye. That I had no hand in that apart from putting you in the place.
Do you know what I said to Tom? You know when Don couldn't make it the other week, and you were like, "Oh, well, I'd really like everyone here, so we'll just cancel the session." I messaged Tom. I went, "Don's coming back as fucking Facey. Just watch," and he did. I fucking knew it.
You know me too well now. Okay.
Anyway, when I'm not having my heart shattered into a million pieces by this campaign,
you're talking about it on your channel.
I'm talking about it on different channels, including my channel, which is twitch.tv/Susanna Grace. And I'll be there tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern, which is 7 p.m. if you're in the Britlands, my homeland. Then Monday, back on my channel. Tuesday, back on my channel. Wednesday, I played a spy game here as the hacker Athrena, who is the only one who's somewhat competent at her job of being a spy and not an action hero, explosives demolition expert. In theory.
In theory. But yes, you're doing the good tradecraft. Well done, you.
I'm ish. I got half a job done.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm doing that, and that's at 2 p.m. Eastern over on this channel. Other than that, I'm on Twitter.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. And Dawn, I know you desperately go in just a second. Let us know where we can find you, talk about your Patreon, do all that good stuff.
Yeah, sure. I had a blast. I enjoyed returning as the Faceless Man. It's something that, I've thought about quite a lot and wondered about quite a lot. And so I got like 2 bargains out of it. Like I got 2 different deals. That went pretty well for Facey. And so I'm excited to see how all that plays out. And I loved the parlay. I've enjoyed all the parlays we've done because they've all been pretty distinct. But this one was a lot of fun. Obviously, how it ended was open-ended. And so maybe next time we'll get to see how it all shakes out in regards to the Fossilways. I'll be looking forward to that. But always happy to be here playing with this great group of people. We've been playing this game for a long time, and my opinion, it just keeps getting better and better and better. So I love it. I can't wait for the next session. You can find me on Twitter if you want. Sometimes I tweet. Sometimes I talk about the stuff that I'm doing. You can also find me on Patreon. If you back me on Patreon, then as seats open up in my games that I run, my patrons get first dibs on those seats. So my seats fill up pretty quickly. So if you're interested in that, you can find me there. As far as what I'm doing, working on a few big books, trying to finish some big projects that I've been working on for a while, and running a ton of tabletop role-playing games for people. That's my life.
Yeah, nice. Thank you so much. V, where can we find you? What are you up to?
At the minute, mostly just doing a lot of work and playing role-playing games. But I'm gonna get back into streaming soon. Sea of Thieves has new content, and I really want to do Mass Effect. It's there, it's waiting. I just have to figure days out and times. But this was great. Millie, I love getting to roleplay with you as Faye. This is like, much as we were both like, wouldn't it just be awesome if they were friends? Both of us are just like, yeah, but when they're not, it's kind of more fun.
Yeah, it's so much more fun.
Like we could make them friends, but then we don't get to be bitchy towards each other. So no doubt Millie and I scream a lot about things that may or may not happen in each other's DMs after the Fyre finishes. But I'm really looking forward to, I kind of want to hear Gregor's tale. I kind of like
Oh,
just a little bit of me kind of wants to hear the campfire tale.
Can Sir Cluck have like an important pivotal role to play at some point?
Sure. Did
Yeah.
Sir Cluck get eaten? I can't remember. No.
No, you actually told us that no harm would ever come to that chicken. Was your
I did. No, I remember that now. I did.
you
Yeah.
did, yeah.
I've been saving my destiny point just in case
Just to save
harm
Sir
ever
Cluck.
comes to.
I like
That's
to
right.
imagine that Sir Cluck is like nestled somewhere on that stretcher, like cuddled up to Lord Tarly like a support animal. That's just where he ends up. Just this random chicken.
Wanting to hatch yeah.
Yeah. But I am looking forward to when we next play. I'm looking forward to hopefully Mara and Samuel getting to discuss a little bit about the Fae conversations, Volume 1 and Volume 2.
That's
and
fair.
seeing a little bit of them talking about that, because I think that's a really interesting point in the war and in their relationships. That would be fun and awkward and terrible. And I'm looking forward to Faye finding all of the ways to say no to I'm not marrying your son and no, you can't have my house.
It's easy. I've said it to loads of people.
I know, but there's just something about when Faye does it actively to people. It's just very enjoyable to watch, Millie. And I'm kind of here for watching that poor boy try his hardest and being turned down.
I don't think his dad feels like he needs to try at all. I'm just a little hostage. I couldn't verbally castrate anybody.
I definitely don't have a bunch of mamas who are spies that might be really good at setting fire to things.
Yeah. We don't talk
Yeah.
about those.
So
It's
I'm,
just
I'm looking.
What's
That's like a
spies?
dowry, but painful.
And my heart is breaking for Miria. It's fine. Just call it free babysitting. It boarding school. It'll be fine.
Boarding school for assassins. And with that, folks, let's wrap up there. You've got this far on the board. Hashtag.
We want to play that game, boarding school for assassins. Let's do that.
James, write it down. Write it down. I'm writing
Somebody
it
put it
down.
on the ideas paper.
Okay.
It's like Hogwarts, but
TMTM.
murdery. Let's
Copyright
do it.
TMTM. Patent pending. All right, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for staying with us. If you want to see more of us, then catch us on Wednesdays for Hexcrawl, which is our spy game campaign, which we made. So we published that game, and we'll be back next Thursday for more of this shenanigans. Until then, we're going to hard out. Take care, and we'll see you next week.